Everything has changed. Traveling is not really a thing, daily activities have become obsolete, human interactions have gone down too. And of course, there's one thing to blame. COVID-19. Easily the most impactful event in the past few years. This virus gets people sick, and sometimes the host doesn't know, so that means they get in contact with other people who then contract the virus, then it becomes a pandemic, causing everything to close around the world, and that ultimately isn't beneficial for our world, and it causes a lot of change in our routines and our... Yeah, you get the idea. But what about the students? More specifically, the high school students. Well, studies have shown that teens develop the most when they are 14 to 16 years old. This is a time when teens begin to realize and adapt to the real world. But 14 to 16, isn't that the beginning of high school? Face-to-face interaction is essential for a healthy upbringing. So how are we meant to succeed online through Zoom? And that left me puzzled, but then I thought, what better way to learn more than by asking high school students themselves? And that's exactly what I did.
Hi, I'm Liam Quinn.
I'm Kelly.
My name is Hugo.
I'm Caitlin.
As a whole, how much has COVID impacted your life?
Quite a bit. I think it's impacted everyone's life a lot.
COVID has been a pretty negative aspect in my teenage years.
It's been harder to meet up with people and harder to do a lot of things. I think there have been really long periods where you can't really see anyone in person other than, your family and a couple of people.
How have your academics been affected?
Well, academically it's been
I feel like I got more time to study.
But it was still definitely a jump. Just the fact of online learning, getting used to a format I wasn't used to. It's a lot easier to lose your attention because you're constantly on a device with so many gadgets, and the whole thing screams lose attention, procrastinate, right? I think that was truly the hardest thing for me.
A lot of studies show that childhood can play a really big role in a person's future, so how do you think COVID will affect that?
I think it would help my future because it gives me a unique experience.
Going through something like this at our age, it will definitely have to make us a lot more independent and resilient as we have to adapt to a lot.
We did Zoom calls, but it's not really like the same as actually being with someone and socializing in real life.
Had COVID never existed, how different do you think you yourself or your life would be?
obviously I'd be a different person. I think that there would be a lot of character development that would have happened over the last 3 years as compared to just being, in my room alone.
I wouldn't be as independent.
I'll be more resilient and I'll be able to adapt to changes much quicker.
I mean, again, I think it's going to be a very interesting historical footnote, but as in a general populace, it's going to be quite different.
Do you feel you'll still get the high school experience you wanted?
No. I think high school is such an important part of your formative years that you can't fully have it through online learning. And I'm grateful in the most silver lining sense that it did happen during 7th and 8th grade. But it did impact me in a lot of ways that were socially, that were truly horrendous.
It's obviously going to be different, especially this year, but
Hopefully by the time we're seniors, COVID would have been done, but
I think it's still going to be a great time here at HKS during high school.
Yeah, I think we're really fortunate to be in HKIS, compared to a lot of other places in the world.
So what about the people who left? Well, before we answer that, we have to know why this is so significant in the first place. And we sort of already do. Using the information towards the beginning of the video, we know that high school is the optimal time for teens to really evolve in a way, both academically and socially. But with COVID, human interaction is at an all-time low. So when we aren't in school, at a party, or on the pitch, how are we supposed to connect? Through Zoom? Well, unfortunately, it's the best option with the pandemic around. But it still doesn't give you that aspect of human connection that really makes our lives what they are. And to learn more, I decided to interview my cousin, who left HIS in the midst of the pandemic.
Hi, my name is Caden, and I left HIS last year during the pandemic.
Was your transition to New Zealand beneficial for you?
I think it was beneficial because, just from a life standpoint, moving places is always a good challenge, and moving to a different place really gave me a new experience, different from what I'm used to in Asia, like in Hong Kong or in Shanghai, the places I've lived in. And the new experience really helped me grow as a person, I'd say.
When you were in Hong Kong, did you think they were handling the pandemic better than New Zealand or not?
I definitely say in New Zealand, they've handled it better. I mean, we take more measures, and there are more measures. Like there's something called the vaccine passport in New Zealand, where wherever you go around, you have to show like staff member at a restaurant your vaccine passport, or you're not let in. So I mean, New Zealand's definitely got a better system in place. And also, I mean, every afternoon on New Zealand news, there's a briefing about the COVID cases and what the government's doing to step forward and to better help the situation in New Zealand. So I'd say New Zealand's handling of COVID is better than Hong Kong.
Let's just pause for a second.
I definitely say in New Zealand, they've handled it better. I mean, we take more measures, and there are more measures. Like there's something called the vaccine passport in New Zealand.
But we have the Leave Home Safe app. And that may be true, but New Zealand has kept their leniency consistent throughout the pandemic. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, when COVID cases went down, rules such as scanning for Leave Home Safe have become less strict, which ultimately led to another surge of COVID cases. A surge that couldn't have come worse for graduates. Graduation, practically the most important high school event, would have been cancelled had there not been a last-minute drop of cases. But that doesn't mean seniors had it easy. So to dig deeper, I decided to converse with my friend, a student in the class of 2022.
Hi guys, my name is Chloe Pouliard. I'm a current 12th grader. I graduate later this month and I'm going to college in the US.
COVID arguably came at like the worst time for you, but do you still feel like you got like the high school experience you wanted?
I think I did, just because like my junior year was a pretty normal year, and my freshman year obviously was very normal, and I was able to travel for sports and stuff like that. So I feel like I am lucky to say like I have had some like normal years. And then fast forward my senior year, after the 5th wave hit in Hong Kong, we had online school, and obviously like the group gatherings were banned, so it was really hard to meet up with friends. And actually I ended up going to the US, and all my friends also went to the US, so it was really sad and difficult because we didn't get to spend time with each other like we had planned.
Just like Chloe said, activities as a whole have become obsolete. And of course, that includes school. By now, we know that high school can play a tremendous part in a person's future. But if there's no school, how will we develop?